Mavericks, they fell short in their pursuit of a second championship, but had a memorable run as the fifth seed in the Western Conference. In the second season with Luka and Kyrie, Dallas finished the season 16-4 in their final 20 games. That's the best record in the NBA from March 7th to the end of the regular season. And they were optimistic about their future despite the loss. Take a listen.
It doesn't matter if I was hurt. How much was I hurt? I was out there, tried to play, but I didn't do enough. I'm proud of every guy that stepped on the floor, all the coaches, all the people behind. Obviously, we didn't win finals, but we did have a hell of a season, and I'm proud of every one of them.
I enjoyed this journey more than any other season, just because of the redemption arc and being able to learn as much as I did about myself and my teammates and the organization and the people that I'm around. It's a lot of good people here, so it makes coming to work a lot of fun. And when you have that type of environment, I think it's easy to achieve goals that are bigger than yourself because everyone's really dialed in and having a good sense of joy about them.
That's really great perspective there from Kyrie. The Mavericks, of course, fell short, but Luka, he still became the first player to lead an entire postseason in points, in rebounds, assists, and steals in NBA history. So across games 3 to 5, of course, he missed like 20 straight threes, and I think that maybe colors a little bit the way that we remember this finals run from him. It was actually a very impressive postseason. So, Brian, can you just put all of this in perspective? As you look back at the totality of his first finals, what can he build off of?
Yeah, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is Luka, his flaws are all correctable. What is holding him back, I honestly believe that he can overcome. I think he's been trying to overcome some of them for most of his adult life, but I do believe he can get over it. And I do think that when he does do it, because I firmly believe he's got the talent to be where Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were last night, it's going to be all the sweeter because he went through this. The bad news is I just think that the Mavericks missed an opportunity to make this series more competitive. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but I'll always wonder what would happen in Game 3 if he didn't foul out and how that would have affected the series.
Sorry, Wendy. You're always supposed to start with the bad news and
then
end with the good. Come on, you threw me off. You threw me off. But look, when I think about the Mavs, they may not be at a championship level just yet, but they're in the second best position considering that. They have the privilege, based off of what they've earned in the postseason, to just tweak. All they have to do is make tweaks to their roster. It's not like you're finding something completely new. Yep. You found a core after the trade deadline where you mentioned they had finished the regular season 16-4. They found a really good core. They found a really good strategy. Those dunks, those threes, the one-on-one isolations, they have most of the recipe for success. Now you just have to fine-tune those little itty-bitty ingredients.
I'm with you, but let me say this. The Mavs season was a successful season.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, they should not be hanging their heads. No one in the organization should. They had a successful season. Now, with that being said, Luka, when you point at him, he got to get in better shape, sustain it throughout the longevity of the season. Get that part of it. The second part of it is the player development part. You got a guy like Phil Handy that's out there who is a master at player development. You get guys like Derek Lively back into the lab, expand his game where he can knock down jumpers. He showed us one three-point shot that he hit back 4, and then you get P.J. Washington in the lab. Luka comes back in better shape, and then you have these pieces around them, right? Do you want to keep them, or do you eye a guy that's maybe disgruntled over there in Golden State, right, and Klay Thompson, because you could shoot.
Wait, hold on. I don't know if Director Kathy can get Perk and I up. Is it the Joel Embiid side?
Yeah, it's a little bit, but it's really, I'm looking at the camera. You know what I mean? Go after Klay. Go after Klay.
We're already at that time of year.
He didn't already started his social media posts.
Look, what did you say? Follow, unfollow. Weren't you the one who talked about how
Yeah, but this is a little different. This hit a little different.
I'm not mad at it.
But I'm not mad at it because what they need is spacing. And when you talk about a tough Western Conference,
that is only getting tougher.
That's going to get better. You know, Denver are going to correct them. Do some things to add to their personnel.
Right.
You got to get strong.
I think, though, when we start and finish this conversation and looking at the rest of the West here, some of the people, some of the teams that we could be seeing next season up at the very top or want to get their get back on, Luka Doncic, it certainly starts with him. But Kyrie Irving, Brian, back in the NBA Finals for the first time since he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I asked him if he ever doubted he'd be back on that stage. And he said, no, it wasn't really doubt, but he had to go through some things to get back here. What do you make of his performance in these finals?
He's used the phrase redemption arc last night. And that is actually what we saw in this season, but he fell just a little bit short of completing it because he just didn't bring it in Boston. And I really wonder what would have happened. And certainly the Celtics were the best team. Of course, they earned their way there. But if the Mavericks were playing Milwaukee or they were playing Philly,
they beat any other team.
I just think
think
Kyrie.
so?
Yeah,
Less personal?
But not
they
even,
beat but they beat any
not
other
even so
team.
much beating them. How would have Kyrie have played?
Oh.
Even if they were playing in Cleveland, I think Kyrie goes to Cleveland and no problem. But
True.
there was something about Boston he didn't quite get over,
Yeah.
and it affected the three. I really do believe it affected the dud games he had
Malika,
there.
but that's when your leader needed a leader. Like, think about it. He's been the leader of that team. Everybody's been leaning on Kyrie's shoulder because he's been there before. But in that moment, when you're in a hostile environment, you actually need somebody to come and put their arm around you. And Kyrie didn't have that because they don't have.
And that's where that reciprocity with a Luka Doncic and his growth potentially.
That's what they have when Jaylen Brown and
Jason Tatum. It's kind of the 1-2 punch there that they didn't have, but they are in a really good place and they're set to bring back most